Reddick?
I might need to lower this a little bit.
Take questions from you guys.
Hey, Grant. So we just talked to your new coach, Coach Alamar. What's it like working with him?
Oh, it's been great. He's been around the business for a long time, so he's got a bright mind, especially in the realm with all specialists. I've been watching him with the punters, and I've been learning some, stuff I haven't learned since the couple years I've been here. Just fine-tuning my technique, and it's been great learning under him so far. So.
Did you have to do some research on him? Did you do any sort of like homework to see what some of the guys he's worked with and developed to see maybe what he's been able to do with those?
I haven't really done my own research, but he made sure when he came in to let us know the guys that he's put in the league, so which is a pretty good list. So.
How have you approached the weight room in the offseason?
Yeah, trying to hammer it down a lot. When Coach Duval came in, we put a big emphasis on getting in the weight room, getting stronger on the lower half. One thing I'm trying to focus on this spring is getting some more distance on my kickoffs, just trying to build the leg strength a little bit more than it is thus far. So.
You've seen games?
Yeah, I have. So far, and we still have a long way to go to the season as well. So.
What did you learn from last season, just kind of being thrown into the situation? All of a sudden you're the starting kicker. What did you kind of learn from your first full season as the main guy?
Yeah, got thrown in the fire pretty quickly, especially in a pretty big game. One thing that everyone always says is just staying ready, no matter what your position is. You never know when you're going to have to go in. And after being thrown in that game, I got to learn pretty quickly on how I need to handle my schedule throughout the week. How I handle myself on game day, what I need to do to prepare myself mentally and physically. And in the short span that I got last season, I feel like I made pretty big strides. So.
Well, you just mentioned the game you were thrown into was Florida, right? And you get 2 field goals. You were 2-2 in that game.
Yep.
So what's kind of going through your mind? That's a crazy week with what happened to the other kicker, and you got to go on the road to a place that's going to be packed with 90,000 fans, and all of a sudden it's on your leg to try to kick some field goals. What's kind of your mindset in being in that atmosphere?
Yeah, you try and just block all of it out. It's easier said than done. I personally believe kicking is more mental than it is physical. Just trying to block out the crowd noise. I told my friends and family, when I went out there for that first kick, I couldn't even tell you what happened. I remember making it and celebrating with the guys on the field and running back to the sideline. But I was very fortunate. I was happy to be thrown into a game like that right away and not have to ponder on it and wait for it down in the future.
You mentioned kicking is a big part of the mental is a big part of the kicking game and repetition. How do you get that down? How do you work on that so when it comes to game day, you block all of that noise out?
Yeah, it's just little things like, especially right now during spring, just fine-tuning little things. Like right now I'm working throughout my steps and just trying to eliminate as many minute things as possible. The less factors there are, the less that will go wrong most likely. So.
What sort of tweaks do you think you've made in your setup with Coach Alamar? What are some of the advice he's given you so far?
Yeah, just so far this spring, I've seen little things, and like I just said, one of the things I'm working on right now is keeping my steps more consistent. With kickers, sometimes we're very creatures of habit, and sometimes you take one little wrong step and your whole approach could be different. So right now I'm really trying to fine-tune it even more than what it was at last year.
He talked about wanting, his idea of a perfect kicker, essentially 85%.
Yeah.
What in your mind? What does that play a factor in when you're out there making tweaks and stuff like that? Or is that none of that's even a factor mentally when you're thinking about you're doing those kicks and stuff like that?
Nah, you kind of want to separate those two, especially right now. We still got a little ways to the season, obviously. Right now, working on your craft, but the end goal is a percentage, so to speak, a percentage that you're trying to help your team score points. And every time we go out to take a kick, whether it's 1 or 3, you're making points for your team, so everything's important. Obviously, the goal you're striving for is 100%. So that's what's on my mind.
Do you envision doing both the field goal and kickoff responsibilities by the time fall rolls around?
I do. I would like to. Something I'm trying to focus on as well right now. It takes a lot of stress off the team and the coaches as well when you have one guy doing the job.
Are there kickers in the NFL that maybe you watch, maybe where you feel like maybe a similar body type to your own? Are there some guys you like to always watch and kind of see their technique and how they go about doing things?
Not so much, honestly, in the NFL, especially now since.
What about college?
The kickoff is different. I guess with college and NFL, you can mix them both. Somebody that, you know, I watched, not really when I was younger because he was older, but I've watched clips is Sebastian Janikowski, just because he was a bigger guy and I'm obviously in a larger frame. So just being able to use your frame and try and get as much power as possible, that's something I'm trying to maximize right now.
Kind of following up with what Chris said, you were paired up with Evan last year. Did you take anything from his approach to kickoffs?
Yeah, man, just he had a leg, huh? Yeah, impressive guy, especially, you know, being a tight end. And it wasn't even his main position, but just talked to him off the field. You know, he didn't get to rep as a specialist as much in practice, honestly. So I tried to help him more with, you know, the mental side and little things, but that's a God-given grace right there. But yeah, I still see him a couple times to this day, but you know, as a specialist, you have friends across the country that you can go to, and especially, you know, my coaches I still work with. So.
Grant, you grew up going to games here. What are your memories, if any, of the Frost era the first time, and what's it like playing for him?
Yeah, it's really cool. One of the first times I met Coach Frost, I was talking to him about, I was a season ticket holder here with my family when he was here the first time, and one of the main memories I have as coming to games was the Memphis Conference Championship we won in overtime. So just little things like that, looking back at my childhood, and especially now being a full-time starter, not, you know, half of a season, I'm excited to make my name as big as possible right now.
How has the culture changed from last season so far under Coach Frost?
Yeah, I mean, it's great right now. You know, we went through, I think, 10 or 8 weeks of winter workouts, and you know, that's a time obviously you're trying to build your body and get better on the field and everything, but it's also a time we're meeting half a new team, a whole new coaching staff, but it seems like we got as one pretty quick. You know, we're still doing things outside of football together and trying to get to know each other a little bit better outside of the game as well. So,
right, your unit's small, but what is the leadership aspect of it? I mean, a specialist is usually, you know, kind of on their own. You know, you're in your own mind, in your own head. What about leadership as a whole? How do you see yourself as a leader on this team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going into my third season now. We have a really small special teams unit right now. But that I see it as a good thing, honestly. You know, sometimes you have a lot of guys out there on the field and you're not working as closely with everybody. You know, I was fortunate last season to get some reps on the field and in games, and Michael and Kevin right now, you know, they don't have any game experience yet, but they obviously have the talent and capabilities to be out there this season. You know, they're working together right now to try and see who's going to be out there come fall, and right now I'm just working with them, and you know, I don't know a lot about punting, but you know, I think I know a little bit about the mental game, so just getting to know each other a little bit more outside of the facilities as well. You know, when we had a larger unit, you know, we were all doing things together, and now it's a little bit smaller, so we gotta make sure we're doing as much together as possible.
You said you don't know a lot about punting, but would you like to know a lot about punting? I mean, Pete mentioned like he's had guys who've done all three before.
So I mean, I punted in high school. It wasn't, you know, anything pretty, but it got the job done. But yeah, like I'll stand out there while they're talking to Pete about their technique, and I think it's cool. I'm learning little things, and because you never know, you know, what you'll be doing down the road. You know, I could be in this business or something like that, and just the more you know, the better you are. What
was your top moment last year? Did you have a favorite kick?
Oh man, favorite kick. It's got to be the first one. You know, you go out, that's a huge stadium, big crowd. You know, got all the jitters out of the way. But that's probably the one that sticks out the most. Was just getting that first one out of the way.
Did you get heckled a little bit on the sideline?
Yeah, you get heckled every game. Yeah, especially at Florida. You know, you're really close to that sideline. But
what's your favorite bit of heckling that you've got?
Everybody just likes to say how I'm like a bigger kicker, but you get the job done. It doesn't matter.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Grant. Good luck
guys.
to you. Thank you.